Okay, great. So, if you guys would all like to say hi to good friend Aritro. Uh, Aritro is a freshman at Georgia Tech. He graduated last year. If you guys didn't know, he founded the coding club back in 2018, I believe. So like a year before I got to South. And he was our first president for 2 or 3 years, 2.5 years, I think. Um, yeah, so he is studying computer science, correct, at Georgia Tech? At
Yep.
the Cool, cool, awesome. So he'll give a short presentation, I believe, about his kind of first year experience, and then we can have a Q&A on any questions you guys might have for just the CS in college. Arisha was only a freshman, but he can give some of what he thinks, what he's seen so far, and also I guess advice for um, high school and applying to college if you guys are also curious. So before we get to that, I would just like to uh, appoint the officers for next year. Um, and what we're gonna have is Michael Remit and Jerry Chin, who served as the vice presidents this year. They will be co-presidents next year, and then as vice presidents, we will have Jonathan Sim and Varun Rao. So if you guys, Michael's there. I'm not sure if Jonathan or Varun are here right now, but they will be the officers for next year. And as per our electoral processes, I've just created a quick Microsoft Forms. So you guys, I'll put that into the chat, and I'll also put that, I'll send it out to the rest of the club who can't make it today. And and that is just a simple yay or nay for approving. Um, the officers. So we just need a 50% majority um, to confirm the officers for next year. Just so you guys have a say also. Um, and I'll send it out to the remind if you guys just want to fill that out real quick. Um, all right, great. So it's in the Teams chat, and also I just sent it out to the remind the entire club. So I'll have the results for you guys. Um, yeah, I'll end the voting tonight. And for next year's officers, I'll email you guys or add you guys to the Discord call or Discord chat so we can I can kind of hand over all the stuff that we've been working on this year. So you guys have you guys have all the material to work on next year. Yeah, without further ado, Aritro, it's all yours.
Awesome. Um, I will share my screen if I can.
Oh yeah,
And
Mr. Zarko, could you give a retro presenter status?
I can do that.
cool. Um, Thanks, Kevin, for the introduction. You're doing some pretty cool stuff with the coding club. I saw that was pretty awesome. Definitely wasn't as formal as it was under me, but that's pretty cool to see what you've done with the club. All right, I get started. Actually, I'll show my content. Uh, okay. All right, I might need to leave and get back in to give the access to Microsoft Teams to share content. Once I be right back.
Oh, you're muted, Aritro.
All right. Cool. Should be sharing. It says I'm sharing screen. Am I sharing screen right now?
Yep, we can see it. We can see your PowerPoint.
Awesome. All right, cool. So pretty much, I'll just go through a little short presentation about me, just in case you don't know who I am or what I've been up to since I left South. So currently, I just finished my freshman year at Georgia Tech. I'm in the computer science major. I'm going to be an incoming sophomore in the fall. And I have a summer internship lined up at a company called CDK Global, which is starting in June. I'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, so that's just me right now. That is a campus that I've yet to been to, but that's the picture of the campus. All right. So background, Kevin did it pretty well. I was the founder of the coding club, and I was in the C++ class of 2020. And before that, I interned at a company called Covalence, where I use like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to like teach. So their platform Covalence is pretty much it teaches people how to code, and I guess using that internship experience, I kind of wanted to teach people at South how to code, so I started looking into coding clubs. So I opened it up, and I used Covalence's resources in the beginning, and I started to shift away from it to make it a little bit more collaborative. So yeah, that's my background with that. All right. So at Georgia Tech currently, this is the things that I'm involved in. It's a Google Developer Student Club. It's pretty much a club that Google owns, but most universities have a branch called the Google Developer Student Club. And I took part in the 2021 Solution Challenge. That was pretty cool, where you have to tackle one of the UN's 17 goals. They have like a bunch of goals listed out, and you have to like figure out some way to tackle the problem or create a solution to one of the problems with Google software. And me and a team of 4 people, we made an app that is pretty much a social media app, except it's more centered around the positive aspects of social media, where it's like, it's like about encouraging social justice. And like a lot of people, they post stuff about BLM and a bunch of other movements, and especially right now with the Palestine or like that Israel situation, you're seeing it all in people's stories and posts, but then it kind of dies out in trends. We found that in our studies, how like BLM was trending a lot for like 1 week and then it died off on social media and Google. So we kind of wanted to have a social media platform where people can continuously check in about their social causes, post about parades, post about marches, and post about movements. So that's pretty much what we did. And that kind of tackled 2 of UN's goals of like social connectedness and just social justice. Another thing I was part of this year was Filmmakers at Georgia Tech. That's just a really cool thing. I just like make short films. I'm the treasurer now, and I also go into some of the CS courses. So in high school, I took AP Compsci A and AP Compsci Principles. AP Compsci A, I took it in 10th grade, which was a good decision, but I think I should have waited a little bit. I should have taken principles before, especially because I hadn't done Java before, and I'd say that was my fault on my own because I struggled in the beginning, and then I really had to like buckle down and try hard, and then I did well at the end. So yeah, getting into coding is definitely something that is difficult, and if you're new to coding and stuff, and you're finding it difficult, you find Java difficult, you find any language difficult, it's completely fine to struggle. But the number one thing I learned in college and even in high school is like ask questions and not be afraid to ask for help, because like programming in general is like a super collaborative thing. And if you're not collaborative while programming, then you're not doing it right. Obviously not during tests though. Yeah, so going straight into Georgia Tech, Compsci A knocked out 1 credit for me, 1 class, and I started into something called CS 1331, which is object-oriented programming using Java. It's pretty much Compsci A with a little bit extra added stuff. So, but just like added stuff, just like stuff that we didn't really learn, just like some nitpicky things here and there, but it wasn't too bad. The number one thing I learned in college classes is that homework's graded very differently, and at least at Georgia Tech they do. So that was one thing, but that wasn't that hard of a class. This semester, I definitely took one of the harder classes I've ever taken. It was CS 1332, which is all about data structures and algorithms. And if you know anything about interviewing or just the software industry in general, anyone would tell you that that's probably the most important class you're ever going to take as a CS major. if you're going to major in CS, because that's all the interviews ask you about. They're going to ask you about how to create data structures and what algorithms would do something quickly. And that's pretty much everything they interview about, everything they ask you about. So yeah, that class was really interesting and difficult in the beginning, and then you have to really work hard and collaborate with other people. So yeah, I'll probably go into that in the Q&A section if you guys have questions about that. All right, so this is the internship I'll be doing in June. It's called CDK Global. It's a company in the automotive industry where they pretty much produce the software that car dealerships and other companies use to sell cars. So pretty much like car salesmen, they'll use this software to sell people cars. It's pretty much all dealership side, and the user doesn't, like the customers that purchase cars don't really see the software at all. But I had 3 rounds of interview, so I'll go into that because I'm pretty sure a lot of you are curious as to how interview processes go. So the first thing I did, I had to have like a resume and I had a cover letter and everything. And something really cool that Georgia Tech did is a required class in our freshman year, and I'm pretty sure some other universities have it too, is like a basic CS class where they teach you how to write a resume. It's like part of an assignment. You have to write a resume. You have to write a cover letter, which pretty much details exactly who you are and what you want to do. And they make you make a LinkedIn, which I think is super important. So if you don't have a LinkedIn at the moment, I'd make one. Obviously, you probably won't have much to add to the LinkedIn, but make one as soon as possible and try and get connections. But yeah, so that class really taught us how to do those things. But yeah, so the first round was obviously I just like called the recruiter. They set up a meeting and they did a previous screening of what languages I know. And then my second round was I had an actual technical interview with the manager, the hiring manager, and he pretty much asked me about my experiences, what I did in high school, what projects I worked on, stuff I did over the summer, and he liked that, so he sent me through the more technical aspect of it. Well, I guess this is a perfect time to segue into projects, because he was asking a lot about projects. And the first round of interviews that you have with the hiring manager, the number one thing they're going to ask you above, they probably won't ask you what GPA you had in high school or what GPA you had in the semester, because that's all in your resume. And as much as it matters, it doesn't matter that much when it comes to CS. Do well in school. Definitely go for it. Try and get an A in every class you get. But even if you don't, it's not the end of the world. The most important thing to do right now is do projects on your own independently. Try and learn as much languages as you want. Like the summer going into the 2020 summer, I tried to teach myself full stack development using Node and React and stuff, of how to make a website, how to make an app. And I think that was really helpful because it was really cool, obviously. And at South, I took Compsci, which was Java, and we made really cool applications and games with that. And then I took JavaScript and principles. And you make some cool websites with that, but making full stack development, which pretty much means you have a server that everything's running on, and then you have a front end which people can see and interact with. So if you're just making an app or a social media page that people can interact with, and you can see stuff going into a server like Amazon, like AWS and stuff, and then MongoDB, all the data, that stuff is really interesting and cool. So if you want to do projects on that, that's what I did personally, but you can do whatever you want. I think the number one thing that recruiters and companies really want to see is that even though you're not actively in class or actively in a school or a semester, they want to see you trying to learn stuff on your own or try and do stuff with other people. That'd be really unique and cool. Yeah. And then the third round was the hardest round, where pretty much 2 guys that work at the company, I think they're junior developers or developers at the company, they pretty much just grilled me on Java questions and JavaScript questions for 35-40 minutes. And it was a little bit daunting because a lot of the stuff, but it's hard to say. So yeah, that's definitely the hardest part of it, is when you have to kind of buckle down and really learn everything. But yeah, if you know what you're doing and you stay confident, that part goes well. And I guess this internship that I'll be starting is all about big data. I'll be working on this new application called Snowflake and SQL. SQL is just a programming language that is used to parse data. I don't know exactly the specifics of what I'll be doing yet, but I'll be working on a team in Austin, Texas. It'll be remote, but there might be a hybrid format as the summer goes on, obviously due to vaccinations and everything. But yeah, it's a really cool thing. I'm getting into the data space, which I'm really excited about, as I haven't done data before. But yeah, what else do I have? Yeah, questions. But I guess I'll say one more thing. At Georgia Tech, the two things that I'm planning on specializing in, we are allowed to choose 2 threads of computer science that we really want to specialize in. It's intelligence and data. So systems and info networks, that's what they call it specifically, but it's pretty much data and intelligence. And intelligence is like machine learning and AI, which I think is pretty cool. And I think it's the most popular one at Georgia Tech. And the other thread I'm doing is the systems and info networks, just because I know that data and machine learning, they all pretty much go hand in hand, and they're also like super important to know for the future of the computer science industry. Yeah. I guess I'll open up to questions and stuff about anything really. It doesn't have to be just college. It can be applying to colleges. It could be what should I do? What languages should I learn? I can help about that stuff too.
Oh, I had a question for your internships. How did you like apply? And when did you apply?
Yeah. Good question. Yeah, I applied to like 20 companies. I got rejected by 19 of them. It's mainly just because like freshman internships are so hard to get. But I think I applied first semester, like end of first semester, when I started getting a better idea of like just like seeing. We had a little portal that it's called Handshake that Georgia Tech has, and that posts like a bunch of job listings, like internship job listings and stuff. So like I used to just go on that and apply, but you can even do external stuff. Because of like the pandemic, a lot of the freshman experiences that companies provide, like Google had one that I'd really recommend applying to the second you get into college. I didn't get into that one, but it's really good. It's called the Google Step Internship. It's like pretty much just a freshman program where they like really help kids, like soft freshmen and people going into college, take off into the industry. And if you can get into that, super awesome. I think Microsoft did something, but this year I'm not sure if they did, but obviously they will starting next semester. Amazon also had a freshman thing, but I think again, because they really wanted to be in person, they canceled like a lot of those ones. But a lot of the freshman programs are easier to get into than just straight up cold applying to companies that are just hiring, because sometimes they say like you need just to be in a current bachelor of computer science, or you just need to like be in the college right now, but you're obviously competing against juniors and seniors and sophomores who will have more experience than you. But yeah, you should look for the ones geared towards freshmen, but definitely go take a chance and apply to as much as you can. That's you should apply to everything.
Yeah, 20.
Yeah.
Damn, that's a lot. All right, sounds good. Thank you, Aritro.
Yeah, I don't know if it was 20, but I remember like anytime I saw something, I just applied to it, and I just hope for the best. I think someone has a hand up. I'm not sure who that is. BS.
That's me, Aritro. Zarko.
Oh.
Yeah, so, and I'm curious about this too. So what was the most important thing you took from South with you to Georgia Tech in terms of either what you learned in A or principles that ended up making it easier for your Compsci, college level Compsci courses?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good question. Yeah, I think Compsci A was definitely the most similar to my first class CS class I took at Georgia Tech, which was 1-2-3-1. And I guess just like the level of rigor and the concepts that you taught are like very similar. Like everything that you pretty much taught, we learned again. And just like if you take the class seriously and like you really try to do like the programs like by yourself without like asking, like obviously you can ask for help, but like not copying code or whatever, like doing that really rigorously and like routinely and trying to make sure you have the concepts down. I think that's like really important because you need to know that in college classes. Like it's not that different where like at first, just because it's like harder concepts, I think the number one thing to do is to know exactly how to do it on your own. And that's what you learn in like Compsci A. Like you can learn Java principles pretty vaguely, but you wouldn't know it well unless you wouldn't do well in Compsci A unless you actually like know the stuff like almost like it's the back of your hand. So my first course that I took at Georgia Tech, that really helped Compsci pull through. Even in my second one, data structures and algorithms, when I went into sorting, I remember the sorting stuff that we did in Compsci and it made it much easier. So yeah,
And just to piggyback on this, what if we could add something to, let's say, the A-level course at South? You know, we have this time after AP test. What do you think, based on your experiences, would be the most kind of valuable content or material to teach that's not included in the A course that would help you with your college level stuff?
I'm just trying to think of what we were learning in A. I guess like what do we usually do after A, after the AP test is over? Just trying to remember.
Well, it depends, and depends on when you have it. Because in the fall, I kind of teach all the way up through the end. In the spring, like even this year, we have our AP test next Tuesday, so we'll have a good 3 weeks of class time left. And so I'm going to work. There's projects that College Board gives us that we can do as kind of like optional exercises just to help the whole class design kind of concept, and object-oriented programming. And so that's what we're going to do. I just didn't know if there were any specific kind of topics that that you were introduced to, like maybe in that first intro class that you took that wasn't in A at all, that might be helpful to be kind of introduced to in high school, even before you get to college, that you could say, hey, at least I recognize this, or I've been introduced to this and I have an idea of what it entails. Yeah.
Let me really quickly pull up my syllabus that I have, just so that I can say something in better. Big O.
Okay.
That's the thing that was kind of threw me for a loop in the beginning, just because I wasn't really sure how to do that. So Big O, it wasn't as big of a deal in the first course, and like the first one, but data structures and algorithms, Big O is like the biggest thing. And I remember on the first exam, there was like 3 multiple choice questions about Big O, and I spent like way too long on them just because like I had to like wrap my head around exactly how to do those. So I think Big O is something that like a little bit, if you can like introduce it, or like I don't know if it's introduced, I forget, but a little bit more emphasis on that, that'd be pretty cool, because we talk a lot about Big O in the classes.
Yeah, because that's good to know, just because that used to be something when we had a B-level course. There used to be an AP Compsci B years ago, and Big O notation was in that course, but they dropped it when they made the A-level course. So that would be something that we could touch on too. So that's cool. Okay, thanks.
Yep. Yeah, you can go ahead. Whoever raised their hand.
So like, how does the threads curriculum thing work at Georgia Tech? Do you feel like it's like a really good addition to the academic program for their computer science there?
Yeah, so the threads pretty much start like halfway through your second year, like starting mini third year. So obviously I haven't really gotten into it yet, but from talking to upperclassmen and stuff, they said it's really cool. And obviously when I'm course planning, pretty much my third year and fourth year schedule are different from my friends who are also doing CS majors, but they're doing different threads. And each thread has its own end goal. Like you'll have to create like 2 final projects for your 2 threads, because you can choose 2. So in machine learning, I have to make some like machine learning program, and in data I have to do something else. But I know that there's a bunch of other threads that like really push you hard. There's this one that I was thinking about doing, which is called like systems and like architecture, where you pretty much are making like a processor chip, and like you pretty much like program it from like basic level to end level. You're pretty much making like a Intel chip kind of thing, and you're making a processor and everything. And like that one, I mean, that's really cool, and some people are really interested in that. But when I was looking into it, it seems like too much rigor for me, and also I didn't feel like doing that, because I heard it's like a lot of low level programming. But yeah, each thread is really cool because it opens you up to a lot of stuff that you wouldn't usually learn in just an undergrad CS thing. And if you're thinking about, I don't know, doing graduate in computer science, it can give you a better idea as to like, hey, I really like doing this thread. I might want to do a master's in it. And even if you don't like the thread you're doing, it's really easy to swap. So you can like drop some classes and just take a bunch of others. And yeah, it's really cool. I think the threads program is really awesome, because I haven't looked at all the universities, but it's definitely unique to Georgia Tech, at least in that front. But I'm not sure what other universities offer the same kind of plan.
Oh, oh, sorry. Someone else raised their hand, but I had a question afterwards. They can go first though.
All right, yeah, Benjamin Losey.
Hey, other than computer science classes specifically, what classes would you recommend if you want to be a Compsci major?
Yeah. So first semester I took. Oh, are you talking about South or just like and college?
Both.
All right. South. I mean, definitely take math. You have to be good at math, or not have to be good at math, but you should take math classes because they're not going away anytime soon in college. Just because like it works hand in hand, math and computer science, at least some math courses. Um, yeah, so math classes. I have to take for intelligence. I have to take psych. So if you want to take AP Psych and you're interested in machine learning or AI and you're at South, I definitely take AP Psych. I didn't, so I'll have to take psychology next semester. I saved it for the second year because I wanted to space stuff out. But yeah, so psych is one of them. Another one, statistics. I have to take a stat course for the data class. So stats is useful too if you want to take that and get it out of the way. What else? Just at college, I took linear algebra. I know that's not offered at South, and neither is discrete math. But those are the two math classes that really are fundamental to computer science. It's linear algebra and discrete math. So those are those, and everything else is just like generic courses that I had to take just for graduation fulfillment.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Good question. Kevin, you had one, I think.
Oh yeah, no, you answered it. I was just gonna ask what math courses you took because I have to take next year linear algebra and then I think eventually take discrete math either my first or second year.
I like discrete math a lot. Linear algebra, I absolutely despised. Yeah, it was a bad time. It's pretty much consensus amongst everyone that linear algebra is not a fun time. It's because like you're learning a lot and there's a lot of like stuff. And I guess if you like it, you really like it. Because there's some people that I met that like linear algebra is my favorite course I've ever taken in my life. And then other people are like, I hate it. And I'm one of the people that have hated it from start to end. I never found it interesting. But I know that it's really important because it goes into matrices and like matrices like help in the future. I'll learn eventually, but I did not like the class that much. But it's important. But
Nice,
discrete
nice.
math is cool. Discrete math is really cool. It's about like not probability. It's about like proofs and there's some probability at the end. It's called yeah. So I like discrete math. At least my professor was really nice and they taught it really well.
Oh, cool. Oh, my other
Yeah.
question was, I know you're not doing the systems thread, but how like even for just your major requirements, how like low level, how close to I guess computer engineering or electrical engineering do you guys get?
For me, here, let me pull up what courses I'm taking real quick. I have my thread plan pulled up. Let me see here. CS threads. Okay. So I can swap around, but if you do so I can just say all the threads right here. There's devices where you like actually can create devices that like interact in the physical world. Like pretty much, I guess that's like smart homes and like all that stuff. Then there's info internetworks. I think I'm taking that one where you're doing information. And then intelligence, you're build top to bottom models of rational agents and human level intelligence. So I guess I'd be doing some pretty low level programming there too. And then there's media. Media is pretty cool, but I was thinking about it, but I just ended up not doing it I found the others more interesting. Where you're pretty much making like animation and game development. That's what you do in media. So if you really want to do like game dev stuff, media is really cool. Yeah. And then there's modeling and simulation, which is what I thought media would be, but I mean what I thought they'd be the same thing. But modeling and simulation is you're pretty much taking a lot of real world processes like nature and like rain and weather and everything, and you're representing it in like a computer format. So it's like pretty much like that stuff. And then there's people. So pretty much that entire thing, like it teaches you exactly what people want in a program. Like for computer science, like you research how people interact to different elements of UI, and like you yeah. So that's like if you want to start like a company or a business or some kind of app idea, it really helps you learn that makes humans the central component of your software instead of like something else. So, and then the systems and architecture thing is create computer architecture systems and languages. I think that's the most low-level programming thread you can go into because you're literally at the bottom coding like a processor chip, and you're making your computer from scratch, pretty much everything about that. And then there's theory. I don't know who takes theory, but it's like if you want to do a PhD in computer science, I think theory would be the best CS one because you're just learning about the theoretical foundations that underlie computer science. The theory aspect is definitely interesting, and we learned about it in 1-3-2, but it's not something that I find as interesting as the other stuff. But I definitely do think that some of it is interesting, at least in fundamentally when you're thinking about it. It's cool as to how people are able to make stuff more faster, what makes certain searching algorithms faster. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, that seems a lot to learn.
Yeah, there's a lot of choices, and I think that's like you're kind of spoiled for choices because you don't know which one you want to do. But the cool thing about college is you can try a little bit of everything, even if you're not sure exactly what you want to stick with. So that's at least your first 2 years, you might be like feeling kind of like boxed in with trying to finish all your general stuff. But after that, I've heard from other people, it's pretty much just like free for all. Like whatever classes you want, you can take. And if you don't like it, people drop. Like that was the weirdest thing. Like first week of classes, people were like, oh, we had 10 people drop this week. So I want to make sure everyone's on board now. I'm like, whoa, that's crazy that people just drop out of classes so fast. Yeah, like the first 2 weeks, like people join and drop classes like crazy, but not freshmen or sophomores, but up a higher level people, they definitely do that. So
Very cool.
you'll have you'll have a
thanks.
lot of culture shock, I guess, with college classes compared to CS, but compared to South. But AP classes are pretty similar in terms of rigor. Obviously, as you get further, it's much harder at college, but it's pretty cool though. AP Compsci A is very similar to CS 1-3-1, so that won't be as big of a brick like that's thrown at you because you're kind of used to the same level of coding and stuff like that. So, yep.
I had a question, like, what's the workload like at Georgia Tech? Because I heard it's like very rigorous there.
Yeah, I think everything's manageable. Like that's what I was asking like juniors and seniors, because when I was like thinking about choosing Georgia Tech, I was like a little bit nervous just because like people get like really stressed out. But I think that's just I don't know if you read like if you go on like the Georgia Tech Reddit this year, it was absolutely like depressing to look at because everyone's like stuck inside and like they're talking like I'm depressed and I have so many classes and none persons don't care about me. But from everyone I've heard and on my personal experience, everything's manageable, and I just think that you need to balance everything out because obviously you want to finish your work, but I've never had to like really work that late. I mean, if you have a schedule set in your mind that like I'm going to sleep at this time, you can definitely fit everything. Now, if you're like one of those people that like to work, like burn the midnight oil, I'm not. But if you want to, you can do that as well. But the workload, I think, is manageable as long as you get everything done on time. But obviously, procrastination gets the best of everyone. So, but it's manageable. I feel like it's like every other college. And no matter what college you go to, the workload could become out of hand as if you're not managing your time effectively. But yeah, it'll be hard sometimes. But the TAs at Georgia Tech are absolutely amazing because they're students that took the class. TAs everywhere because of the students who took the class that you're in, so they understand the hardship that you face. So they'll give you like tips and tricks that will like help you out. Like in 1-2-3-2, I was struggling on a test, and I said, "How do I study?" And they said, "What I did last semester was this," and I was like, "That's awesome." And then ever since then, my grades like went way up because that tip was really cool. So definitely don't be afraid to ask for help and use your TAs and office hours because, they're part of the tuition that you pay. That was a really good question. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Are there any other questions, guys? All right. Yeah. Good. Great. Cool.
Cool.
Yeah, Aritro, I don't know if you would like to share your email. So if anyone would like to reach out,
Yeah. I don't know. I'll just put my school one just because it's shorter than my personal one. And I'll look at them equally. So I'll just put it in the chat. Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to email me, or if you, and if you like follow me on Instagram, or if you find me on Instagram, just type in my name and DM me or whatever. I'll respond. I have nothing. I mean, other than the internship in a month, I also have time though to talk to any one of you if you have questions about college applications or just like taking classes at South, or if you're deciding on a college next year or whatever. You can reach out to me. I'm free to help out. I'd love to help out. Yeah.
yeah, cool, awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today. Really insightful. It's good to have someone to ask questions to that's gone through the process. Um, yeah, just thank you, and I guess we'll call it an end to the meeting today.
Yeah. Thanks for inviting me. This is really cool.
Yeah. All right, awesome. See you later, guys. Thanks for joining.
All right.
See ya.
Thank you.
Thank you.